Hey, what's going on, guys? NOAH45KINGS here, coming at you guys live through another podcast. Well, it's probably my first one, so yeah, it's going to be pretty good. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully everybody's families and friends are safe and happy and healthy during these crazy turbulent times. So yeah, let's dive right straight into it today. Big return to YouTube, I must say. It's been a while. I went from everything to doing like little videos with my friends and family and doing like little tiny joke videos here and there, and then I stepped up to become a vlogger, and now I'm back at it again with podcasting. So if you guys like this, please let me know, and if there's anything I can do to improve, please go ahead and drop it in the comments below. So we are going to dive into our first topic today, which will be Post-2020, which, you know, it's been a crazy year for, I think, everybody. I think the statistics say that most people have been affected around the world. I think somewhere on the line of like billions have been affected by, you know what, the pandemic, the great virus, everything. And there's never been a time in human history whereby we are so, I guess, it feels like we're unprepared for some things, but at the same strength, there's never been a time in human history where we haven't had the time or the preparation for to deal with a deadly virus such as COVID-19. And I gotta be quite frank and honest with you guys. I didn't think that this was going to turn it the way it was going to. I first heard of the virus, I want to say back in January, and I kept seeing articles. I'm like, no way that's ever going to come here. Like, that's not really deadly. And even the World Health Organization in China, they didn't even really know what was going on to begin with in the first place, because they were saying that it didn't spread to humans by human-to-human contact. And I watched a documentary on Netflix, which was really interesting. It's the Coronavirus Explained documentary. And that one's pretty interesting. It talks about the implications that it has and how we need to control this and the reasons why we're doing the social distancing and whatnot. And it's very interesting. Highly recommend it. And so yeah, it's been crazy. And I just want to keep going on the podcast by saying, to anybody whose family has been lost during this time, because 2020 has been crazy, not just because of pandemic, but I know a lot of people have lost family and friends during these troubling, difficult times, and whereby it's a pandemic and it spreads by human-to-human contact, we as people cannot be there for each other during these pressing times, and that's honestly very sad and depressing. Like, a lot of people can't go to people's funerals, a lot of people can't meet up and talk. Like, mental health is very important during these difficult times, guys. So reach out to your friends and family. Make sure that they're doing okay, you know. Just do something, you know, for the betterment of everybody. And, you know, we're all in this together at the end of the day. I had to take a sip of some coffee. If you guys wonder what I'm drinking some Nescafe Colombian blend, which is super good, must say, really good. I'm drinking in my Mandalorian cup from the Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian. It's got Baby Yoda and Mando on it, which is pretty cool, must say. Can't wait for season 2. I'm glad that that's still on track, because Stranger Things got delayed, I'm pretty sure, for filming by COVID-19 and whatnot, and it's that sucks. It honestly does. This whole pandemic really has affected everybody in so many ways, and it's unprecedented. Like, we're living in unprecedented times. Like, the fact that at one point, I remember down in the US, because I'm here in Canada, by the way, if anybody want to know, here in down in the US, I remember seeing on the news and stuff from like news outlets from the US that a lot of people were protesting with masks on and some weren't, and it was a big political dilemma. And really, at the end of the day, masks are proven to help people and prevent the spread from you if you are asymptomatic, meaning you have no symptoms, to spread it to somebody else. It doesn't protect you necessarily. It mostly protects you from spreading it to somebody else, if you have it, or if you have another illness such as the flu or something like that. It's probably better than nothing, but that's the main reason why you want to wear the mask, because this virus has been spreading, and half the time people don't even know it's there or in the air, or what have you. Like, even just talking to people, if your water droplets get on somebody or in their nostrils, then it could prove fatal, because especially people with complications such as diabetes or cancer treatment patients, if those people were to end up and actually get COVID-19, it could prove fatal to them. So that's why it's very important for us to all come together and wear masks as a society, so therefore we can beat this thing, because a pandemic has never wiped out humanity before. No illness has, as of this date. Hopefully 2020 doesn't defeat us, but I think we're going to get through this. I'm really optimistic when it comes to humanity in general. Anyway, that's just me. But I know a lot of people out there are like, "Oh no, we're doomed. That's it. All doom and gloom." And there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, you got to try to stand positives. You got to keep yourself chipper. You got to keep yourself up, because there's really, if you look on the news or anywhere outside, like, there's really nothing to keep us uplifting, or not really a whole lot of great news lately. But in terms of preventing and defeating this pandemic, we are getting closer and closer to the virus being defeated, because there's a lot of human test trials right now going into creating a vaccine to potentially combat this virus, because yes, vaccines do work, and I know a lot of people are anti-vaxxers, and it's a controversial subject in 2020, God forbid. Vaccines actually do work. There's been studies proving that, and they don't cause autism or any other disease you might have heard. And a lot of times people honestly just make things up or try to spread false information just for clicks. And to me, it's very inappropriate, very wrong, and people should really just stick with the facts and listen to doctors and the frontline workers and people that are actually on the cusp of breaking through this pandemic and getting us into what is the quote-unquote new normal. Because life after 2020, like I'm probably going to title this podcast, is never going to be the same. The people that you talk to now in your social bubbles or lives are probably going to be the only people you're going to talk to now for quite some time. I mean, yeah, you can still talk to people, and like, you know, if you're willing to take the risk, you can still go outside that. But really, you're taking a big risk. So just, keep that out in your mind when you're mingling with people that you're not familiar with or around as much as you are with your closer friends and family. But yeah, just make sure, to keep that in mind. Man, going on a real rant here. Oh, God. But everything has been affected. Like, people's works. Like, there's a lot of jobs now that are putting people at home, in their office, at their computer. And they're keeping them working there. Rather than saying, well, you got to come into work today. And a lot of people actually really, really are big fans of that. And a lot of people don't care. And a lot of people aren't bothered by that. But I know a lot of people find it difficult actually to work in their own office spaces, in their own homes, because obviously if you have kids, if you have pets, there's easily distractions that can happen, and it can be very difficult. That's why it's good to maintain a really proper schedule, especially for those who are working online. And the main reason why a lot of people are working online now through the use of the internet and things like that are because, well, now, obviously the pandemic, but now a lot of these companies are realizing, hey, we can put all of our workers online via their own telecommunications centers, like their own internet, their own computers, their own headsets. Like, we can wire them all up or put them on a Google Doc, and that in turn will allow them to save money because they don't have to pay people, and also have to replenish the facilities that are inside, like coffee and coffee filters and pens, pencils, what have you, and like normal office space, or sometimes even like some retail stores. I know a lot of retail stores are potentially closing down. I'm not entirely sure on that, but a lot of U.S.-based ones have been hit with bankruptcy charges, or not charges, trying to file for bankruptcy and stuff, because during these difficult times, if you don't have an online infrastructure to go online and order your products, then how are you supposed to get them out to people, right? It's very difficult. As well, the movie industry was hit hard. Not only that, but like just Hollywood in general, because like I said, Stranger Things has been delayed. The Walking Dead finale that I watch has been delayed as well, and it's not coming out, I think, until October, so it's going to act like its own standalone episode, but in turn, we're going to get 6 more episodes of Season 10, which is pretty cool, I must say. I can't complain about that. So, I just hope, everybody, when it comes to movies and filming and stuff like that, all stay safe and keep their distance and self-isolate and, stay safe. Like, that's the main takeaway you want to take away from this podcast. God. Nescafe Colombian is so good. Kind of wish I had at least copy right now. Should have made one. Oh well. It is what it is. And I'm really concerned about when it comes to the implications that this will have on the movie industry, because a lot of people are just buying their movies at home now, and digital has become a really big thing over the last few years, and a lot of people now are just going online, buying their movie, renting their movie, because like it's pretty cheap. Like it's only like $4, $5, $6. Oh, I cracked my knuckles real quick. But yeah, like it's really cheap to rent a movie compared to going to theater, whereby sure, the movie ticket might be like what, $5 to $10, depending on where you get it to, at least. Sometimes even 20 or 30 if you want to go for like IMAX and 3D, like for a couple people. And then they overcharge you for snacks, because like I don't know if you've ever been to the theater before or remember what theaters were like, but the snack fees and stuff were astronomical, like out of this world, man. Like honestly, like popcorn was pretty cheap, I'm pretty sure. But when it comes to like getting extras like chocolates and candies, like oh my god, like they really would price gouge those. Like I don't know if you ever heard the common phrase of like when you go to a movie theater and it's like only this row, and if you want to get the like bottom row, which has like the good candy, like probably like chocolate M&Ms or mini Kit Kats or something like that, it's like, oh, you got to pay like an extra like $8 for to get that, and it's just like $8 for a pack of that. Like I'm just gonna like literally tape this onto my stomach and just run into the theater and not give a shit about what you're about to tell me. So because I ain't paying that money, not for that. That's just ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. And over the course of 2020 as well, we've been having, I want to talk about this really quick. Well, not really quick, but just bring it up really quick. There's been a lot of injustices when it comes to people of other origins and colors. For example, a lot of people who are black in the U.S. have been hit with a lot of racist remarks and racial profiling from police and things like that. And it's not very good. It's awfully scary when you think about it, because just because you look a certain way, or you're just confined to being, obviously in your own skin. And sometimes if you have a different skin color or something like that, you could be like racially profiled for that. And a lot of people talk about like white supremacy and things like that. And in a lot of cases, it does exist in our society, and it's something that we as a society really need to talk about, because it's very, very crucial that we bring attention and light to current climate and situations that are going on in the world right now, because a lot of people are saying, well, they shouldn't put this in everything. Like I think Fortnite in particular is having like a little tawny, well, not really tawny, but it's a big documentary with regard to black voices and being heard, and voting and whatnot. And oh, sorry about my phone. I think it's just vibrating. Yeah. Also, too, they're posting that in Party Royale, which is like their little tiny little tiny event where they all get it, where you can get onto like a playlist, and instead of fighting people, you're just like playing games and chilling out and stuff. So they're playing one of those like little documentaries there to bring light to it. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, we shouldn't have that in our video games or whatnot," and I'm just like, really? Like, this is something bigger than Fortnite. Like, this is something, but like, I don't know if you guys remember, but when I think his name was Colin Kaepernick, when he took the knee for police brutality in the NFL, a lot of people were like, "No, dude, don't bring your politics into the NFL like that." And everybody was just like, you know, really up in arms about it, because like a lot of people did not want politics to be brought into sports. They want, like, I can understand that side too. A lot of people want their sports and extra recreational activities and stuff like that to not include things in the outside world, because that's our escape, right? Like we all like watch TV to escape from reality. We all play video games to escape from reality. We all read a book to get lost in our worlds that we're trying to seep into. And as a result, a lot of people just want to drown out everything else outside. And I can understand that point. I really can. But when it comes to injustice and things of that nature, it's really a humanitarian issue. It's really something that we as a society really have to come together and support, and just come together and respect each other, be nice, and get through this. Like, we need to, I don't know. Honestly, we don't have an answer to, like, racism and things of that nature being done in society. Like, honestly, like, it's not at birth. Like, you just don't come out of the womb and grow up to be racist. Like, you're raised that way, in my opinion, and it's more than likely true, right? Like, everybody just comes out, and, you know, people are people. Like, that's just how it is at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, we all say that we're white, we're Asian, we're black, we're this, we're that. But at the end of the day, we're all just people. We are the human race, and not the white race or the, you know, black race or whatever. We're all the human race at the end of the day. We just have different colored skin. That's it at the end of the day. We should all treat each other as equals. And that's how I feel. And you can debate all politics and whatnot whenever you want or however you want, but when it comes to racism, there's no excuse at all. Because, quite frankly, you were just wrong. Because in order to disrespect somebody to that level is alarming. Like, that you would go to those heights and do that is just mind-boggling to me. Not gonna lie. So it's good that we all come together, we pay respect to one another, and we just treat each other as equals. Like, there's literally no reason why we have to. It's just these preconceived notions that a lot of people have grown up in these types of climates and areas, and if you are racist today, like, you know, just learn to be more open-minded. Learn to not be that way. Whether you learned it, or your parents told you about it, or you were told to avoid these types of people because of this and this and X and Y. You know, just try to unlearn that. Try to break out of that mold. I know it might be difficult, but, you know, we have to. It's not just for me, it's not just for you, but it's for the future. Because I hope we can eliminate racism in 50 to 60 years' time. Because for example, Martin Luther King Jr., like, he created a lot of movements and a lot of progress towards getting these social injustices removed from society and completely, like racism, prejudice, things of that nature. And I hope we get to see more progress of that in the future, because it's something that we as a species need to eradicate. Because the less barriers that we have as a society, the higher and higher we can go, and the more progress we can make on other things, and we can put that towards other investments in areas rather than hating on one another. Why can't we just all agree and put our collective efforts and minds together to create things and love one another and respect the earth and, you know, keep humanity going? Because why would we just put down these natural barriers that us as a species would do? Like, these preconceived notions that we're different because somebody's got a different colored skin. Like, honestly, really, like, that's the reason why you're fighting? Like, it just sounds so crazy to me. And I hope we can move past that as people in the future. But at the end of the day, there's no excuse for racism. And when it comes to people in our lives being racist, or other people that we know or see or hear, like, for example, if you go out in public and you see things like this, you know, it's important that, not to be like a political type or anything like that, but, you know, call people out on it and just say, hey, why'd you do that? Like, that's totally disrespectful. And it's not right. And maybe people will learn. And, yeah, so hopefully we can get through this, and hopefully things will get better. And it's important to realize that things like this aren't just coming out now. It's that we are in a society now where racism and things like this can be filmed. And Will Smith put it best, where he put out a quote saying, I don't know when it was, but it was pretty recent, and a lot of people have been sharing it ever since all these injustices and riots have been happening in the U.S., and it was that racism is not more common, it's just getting filmed. And that speaks volumes, if you ask me. It really does speak volumes. So, I'm going to move on to the next topic, which is, during 2020, before all this lockdown and stuff happened, because here in Newfoundland, it didn't really take effect until like mid-March, I want to say. And I feel like we should have locked up sooner, but that's besides the point, as, you know, Canada and the US and all the other countries that were hit hard by it, we should have really cut down on travel a lot. We should have cut down on travel a lot more than we did, but we didn't. And before we did, we ended up getting, me and my fiance, we ended up getting a betta fish. And some people will call it a beta fish. I call it betta fish because, well, there's two T's and that's how you pronounce it, really. That's how it is. And his name is Phoenix. We got him at a local pet store, and betta fish are actually pretty cheap when it comes to maintenance and keeping like a pet. So if you guys are interested in getting a fish or some kind of pet, but you don't want like to do a whole lot with it, you can get a betta fish, because like this might sound bad, but they can survive up to 14 days. So really, if you want to skip a day or two without feeding them, even though you should probably feed them every day to make sure that they eat well and they're well nourished and well well properly maintained, you want to feed them at least once a day. And you know, it requires a lot less maintenance when it comes to a betta fish than it does like a goldfish or whatnot, because pretty sure with goldfish you need like bigger tanks, and I don't know about frogs and geckos and stuff like that. So yeah, with a betta fish, you just clean its tank, you just feed it like every once in a while, and that's basically it. Like, and honestly, ours is so cute, because I might put up a picture on screen actually if I can get one recently. But we got him a new tank recently, since things have been opening back up again, and he loves the new tank. Because we bought him like a little barrel, so he gets up and goes inside of the tank, or inside the barrel, and he'll swim around, and he just lies there. Like he'll go to sleep there, and it's funny because a lot of fish actually don't even close their eyes when they go to sleep. They just keep them open all the time. So he's just there with his eyes open, and he's just lying in his barrel, like all cute, and it's great. Like honestly, I love him. He's a really great pet, I must say. And yeah, you just clean it. And since we got a bigger tank now, I'm pretty sure we can clean it less often, because it's got more water in it, so you won't notice the buildup as much, and it also won't get as cloudy as it was in, I think we had a 1.5 gallon tank, I think it was, is like one of the starter packs, or one of the starter ones you could get. And also we had, yeah, that's what we had a gallon tank. And we also tried him with pellets. He loves pellets. We tried him with some shrimp, and he really likes those. We give him that as a treat before we clean out his tank, because it gets really flaky and it gets really messy when he's eating it, and it's just sitting there sometimes if he's taking a little while to eat it. He loves that. And I also bought him bug bites to try as like a little treat because it's supposed to enhance his color. And on the back, ever since I've been doing it, I noticed his fin on the back is getting like pale and like starting to get like dark black or like dark blue, and it's really cool. It's really cool, and the bug bites, he really loves them. So it's really great to try new different things, and also too, you can feed them a lot of live stuff too. So for example, you could probably get some like worms, or if you got any like dead flies on a window, you could probably feed him that, and he'd probably dig into it. They'll eat anything. Like, he's a little piranha. He loves eating. I would love to pick up some more earthworms and see if he'll actually eat some. Because worms aren't that hard to come by, especially when it rains. So yeah, that was pretty great. It's a great investment, and I'm glad that we did in the end get a better fish. Sorry guys, just gotta take a few sips because it's so good. Love my Nescafe. And so also, I want to bring this up. During the pandemic, Nintendo Switches, the Nintendo Switch console was very hard to find during the whole pandemic. And I got some spare Easter money from my parents and whatnot, and from different cards. And so anyway, I took most of that money. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get a Nintendo Switch, and I was there waiting for months and months and months, and I could not get one. The thing it was like I was waiting almost 2 months, and then eventually I ended up getting one at Entertainment Center here in St. John's. So they had it on hand. Walmart's all around the province didn't have it. Not GameStop's, EB Games didn't have it all across the province. So shout out to the Entertainment Center for having a Nintendo Switch on hand, which was really awesome of them. And they did do curbside, so I just paid for it over the phone, and I came and picked it up, which was awesome. And so thankful for that, which was great. So I got like a Nintendo Switch, and on it I have Fortnite, which it runs at 30 frames per second. I'm not used to that, where I have an Xbox One X, which does 4K 60 FPS. So yeah, it's a little bit of change, but it's nice to have it on the go, so I can do some quick challenges while I'm visiting friends and family. And also too, I picked up Minecraft, because at the time me and a few friends had a Minecraft server, so we were all on that, and I could transfer my progress between Switch and Xbox, which was really, really dope, must say. And what else did I do with my Switch? Then I ended up getting Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. I think that's the name of it. It's quite a mouthful of a game, but yeah, it was a really good game too. And I had a lot of fun with even my nan. She loved playing fishing and playing darts. And it took her a while to get used to it because she had the controller reversed, but I didn't even realize it myself. Because you gotta actually move the Joy-Con because it has motion controls in it in order to know. And so yeah, we've all been enjoying that pretty nice, which was pretty cool. And I'm with the Switch very satisfied. I'm glad that there's a lot of third-party companies also supporting the Switch. I'm going to get all my third-party games on my Xbox most likely because A, it's cheaper, and B, I have over 200 games on Xbox, and I've got all my gold games on there, and a lot of my other like Xbox exclusives and stuff on there. So that's where I mostly play, because obviously I got my 4K TV as well, and it looks so good and gorgeous, and HDR is amazing on it. I don't think it fully supports HDR10, but because it says some HDR things are limited, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, we really do love our 4K TV. Excuse me. And I love my Xbox, and yeah, it's great that a lot of people are getting third-party support on the Switch, because a lot of people don't have an Xbox or a PC or a PS4 or whatever, even a phone, because you can play Fortnite on your tablet or phone as well. But yeah, and hopefully I also picked up Breath of the Wild too, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I got through like a couple of missions in it, but I haven't fully dug my teeth into it yet because I'm still playing. I'm really in an open world fever right now because I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm like, I think I'm on chapter 5 or 6. No, I'm on chapter 6. Yes, I just finished chapter 5. So yeah, I'm slowly getting through that, and the story in Red Dead 2. Oh my god, it's amazing. Just, highly recommend Red Dead Redemption 2. Even if you're like, not into like open world. Sorry about that, guys. I just my PC went off. I forgot to turn that off. Where it goes into like standby mode or rest mode. So yeah, as I was saying, Red Dead Redemption 2, awesome open world game. Highly recommend it, especially if you got a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X, because the game on there looks fantastic. And I assume it runs really well on PC because obviously it's going to run a higher frame rate, and it's going to have, obviously better textures and settings that you can tinker around with, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Getting off topic. But yeah, honestly, overall, I'm really surprised. Like, the Nintendo Switch is basically, it's a switchable console, right? It's a handheld, but also at the same time, you can use it like as a normal console. And you can either have the Joy-Cons attached to one another with I think it's called the Joy-Con Cradle, or you can just go ahead and you can just easily just use them separate in both hands, which is really nice and convenient. So you don't be T-Rexing, as people call it, where like you're like a little T-Rex with your arms going. So it's pretty cool. They give you a lot of ways to play. You can also bring it around as like a little tablet and use it like that as well, and that's awesome, honestly. But if I'm like back, like say for example, if I'm next to a coffee table, I can just lay down a Switch and play a few games of Fortnite, play some Minecraft, something like that. And yeah, honestly, overall, I'm very impressed with it. The only problem I had was Joy-Con drift. I had to send it away, but Nintendo Repair paid for it all, and voice crack there. And the Joy-Con repair took like, I think it was like about a week or so, and it shipped from Vancouver back to here in Newfoundland like super quick. Like it was like a week, and it was probably overall like a little over a week by the time I sent it with Pure later. So I'm also noticing that I still have stick issues with my right Joy-Con. So I don't know if I should be able to get it fixed or not. I'm gonna probably contact Nintendo on that, and also with regards to my Pro Controller as well, because I picked up one of those. I'm also noticing drift when I'm in tabletop, but when it comes to when it's docked, it isn't so bad. So I'll have to do more testing because I haven't turned it on in a little bit. I mostly played Clubhouse games the other day, so wouldn't really notice in there anyway. I was mostly playing darts and bowling, so yeah, they need like a Switch Sports. That would be really cool. I would be over the moon if they released one of those. That'd be cool, like Wii Sports, but obviously on Switch. So I was talking about Fortnite, and I believe the CEO of Epic, I think his name is Tim Sweeney, I want to say. I don't really have the article on me, but it was released a little while back, and I just wanted to talk about it and how it relates to the current climate and the current situation that's going on in the world. And so, with regards to Fortnite, the CEO of Epic, Tim Sweeney, he mentioned that in the coming years he wants Fortnite to become more than just a game. And you see that with the Party Royale mode, where you just go in, play games, have fun with a few friends, and yeah. And they were even playing movies and previews for like upcoming movies in Party Royale, which was really dope. And it's pretty cool because like you never ever hear any other games doing that, which is it's really cool, I must say. Very, very cool. So I think it's going to go towards more of a social thing. Like, there's going to be much more crossovers. There's going to be more partnerships and things like that. Like, they're even getting TikTok dances in here now, which might be banned soon with all the allegations and stuff. So it really makes you wonder if, a game like Fortnite can become more than a game. Like, for example, during this pandemic, a lot of people that I know turned to Fortnite because they want like a social outlet so that they can still talk to friends. And excuse me, a lot of people still regard Fortnite as like their main social network when it comes to like just talking face to face online, which was, I think, really cool. And it's really interesting how this pandemic really makes people see video games as a much more social tool than it is just, you know, playing online with your friends. Like it's seen more as that. Like it's more of a tool in that regard when it comes to being social. Like no matter what, like we were all confined to our houses for a long while when it came to the whole quarantine situation, but with regards to that, like I'd argue that it made us more social because with things like the internet and FaceTime and video chat and Zoom and all these other apps and Microsoft Teams and Google Docs, like we were still able to work and come together and, you know, still communicate and be social with one another, because we as humans are very social animals, and we heavily rely on one another. And with regard to the pandemic, it made things like Fortnite and like group FaceTimes and things like that all really, really important and crucial to people's lives, because it's a big form of entertainment and it's really cheap and it was just easy to do. And speaking of that, like I went to Walmart after like things died down a nice bit, and I looked around and you cannot find a Xbox or PS4, or you can find Nintendo Switch Lites now. Recently, but you can't get. It's still hard to get a Nintendo Switch because like everybody's just buying them up. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because Animal Crossing was a big thing, because that came out in like mid-March. I'm pretty sure. Maybe that's why, because a lot of people love Animal Crossing, and whenever they do, they just get a system just for Animal Crossing, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if you consider them gamers or not, but it's cool to see people seeing the appreciation of gaming and like the internet overall, because without it we would not be connected. And I'm so thankful for people who are like, you know, running these troubleshoots and diagnostics and keeping these servers and things that we love up and running, because like we could have went this entire thing with no power, no internet, nothing, no TV. And it's just great we have all these services and things, and it allows us to stay social and stay connected, which is the key thing during this pandemic. And having that little tiny blanket of support, like that we still can talk to one another, is a great thing. A very great thing. So yeah, I just want to point out too that a lot of people are beginning to see the value when it comes to a lot of people who are working minimum wage as well. Like, for example, doing like these essential things that are, you know, most minimum wage jobs that people last year probably would have said, oh, you need to get a real job, you need to get a haircut and get a real job, like, you know, that kind of attitude from a lot of people that you see online and stuff. And this year, it really goes to show that people really do need these people that they so look down upon. God forbid that somebody becomes a cashier or becomes a janitor or something like that. And sure, there was always appreciation for when it comes to people who are in the healthcare sector, but when it comes to, like, for example, cashiers or people working at gas stations or janitors keeping places clean or things of that nature that are essential, like, a lot of people just disregarded them in society and just seen them as disposable. And yeah, technically people are disposable like that, because basically a lot of companies were still keeping you going during the pandemic, whether you were considered essential or not sometimes. And I heard that from some people. So, but yeah, honestly, at the end of the day, I personally am very thankful for people who are essential, and you are needed, you are wanted. I just wanted to put that out there, because I know sometimes you get crapped on by Karens and all these people that really just don't understand, like, what the actual hell they're talking about. So it's just great to show appreciation for your doctors and nurses, but not also that either, but for, like, bus drivers, for your janitors, for your cashiers, your your like retail workers as well, like people working in clothing stores and whatnot. Like it's great, it's awesome, and I'm glad to see you guys. Glad to see you guys here and not be treated like garbage like some people do, especially, you know, like I said, the Karen type in quotations. You know who I'm talking about, the middle-aged woman who wants to see the manager because her coupon expired like 6 months ago, but it doesn't work anymore, and yeah, they just feel entitled, and they want everything their way, and they look down upon everybody else as pure garbage. And honestly, in society, you're not surviving very long. Like, that just doesn't work. Like, you just can't do that. So, yeah. Hopefully you deal with the Karens, and we can get through this and pull through this, and you guys can keep chugging along. Stay safe. Do your precautions that are in your work environments, and stay strong. Stay strong, because I know you guys can do it. And so now we're coming up on another topic, which is my watch list that I have for this year so far. What I've been watching and what I've been playing or whatever. And so I'm just going to quickly go through it. So when it comes to, let's see, TV shows, I rewatched Stranger Things and Community with my fiance. I did not see the final season of Community, so it's good to refresh on that. I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee. It's so good. Yeah, but I'd argue that Stranger Things is the best show Netflix has when it comes to production and writing and characters. Like, it all just culminates together to be quite the eccentric show. Like, it's awesome. Like, there's a little bit of everything for everybody. Like, there's drama, there's romance, there's horror. Like, it's got it all. Action and adventure. Like, you can't go wrong with Stranger Things. Stranger Things is an awesome show. I highly recommend it to anybody out there. And also as well, Community. Community is like a sitcom show, and it was running on NBC for, I think it was 5 years, but then afterwards Yahoo Screen took them up. I was about to say Hulu. I always keep saying Hulu, even though I don't know what's on Hulu. And I think Yahoo Screen is offline now, so that sucks. I'm just glad we got 6 seasons of Community and actually got a proper finale in the end, which was nice. Even though some cast members leave and things like that happen, it's unfortunate when things like that happen. But I'm just glad they, it remained true to its roots and still chugged along, and they provided really funny episodes, and it was awesome. Must say, I really do love Community. I think it's like one of my favorite sitcoms, easily. And also too, I also started watching. I watched a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies this year, which I'm becoming a huge fan of Quentin Tarantino, because a lot of his movies are really gory and brutal and violent, and they also have really good, gripping stories to tell. And the acting on it is superb, very superb. Like Samuel L. Jackson, and I watched that this year. I watched. I'm pretty sure this year I watched Pulp Fiction, which is like his first like main breakthrough. Like, Pulp Fiction is a big classic to many people, and I'd have to agree. I watched it. I loved it. Really did enjoy it. However, I think his best work that I watched this year was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, his most recent one. Because Margot Robbie, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Brad Pitt, really superb actors. Awesome. Like, Margot Robbie did a really good presentation of the actress Sharon Tate. Like, she had the look and everything. It was great. Awesome. And when it comes to Leonardo DiCaprio's character and Brad Pitt's character, they like bounce off each other really good. They have like a lot of good chemistry, which I was actually really surprised. I haven't seen Brad Pitt in a lot of stuff, but I've seen Leonardo DiCaprio, and he has a really good range. Like, he's really impressed me as an actor over the years, so it's great to see him, especially in another Quentin Tarantino movie, because I also watched Django Unchained, and he was a villain in that movie, and usually he's not, and that was really awesome to see, and it really did change up the way you kind of see him from time to time, which was which is really awesome. I didn't really expect it, so I'm glad that he really shakes up his roles a lot of times. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And I highly recommend watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because the ending is so gripping and brutal and gory, and it was just a great amalgamation. And it's a really good love letter too when it comes to the I think it was set in the 60s and 70s. It's a really good homage to that era as well. And another movie I watched recently was Quentin Tarantino, another Quentin Tarantino movie. It was Sleeping Dogs, or not Sleeping Dogs, Reservoir Dogs. I think Sleeping Dogs is a video game. Yeah. Reservoir Dogs is basically a bunch of jewel thieves. They all come together. They all have these different names, like Mr. Brown, Mr. Blue, Mr. Black. Like they all have like these different like pseudo names, basically saying like Mr. Color. Like basically that's what it is. They all come together and they all plan a jewel heist. So they all get together and they rob a jewelry store, get the jewels. But when it comes out, when it turns things around, the plot twist is one of them is a cop, and one of them has set him up, and now they got to figure out who it is, and everything goes to shit, and shit hits the fan, and it's really brutal and gripping, and it's got quite a suspenseful story at the end of the day. I must say, I was really impressed by that one as well, because it's not really talked about as much as I think it should be, and so yeah, I recommend that one as well. And back to series real quick. Me and my fiance were watching Cold Case Files. I think it's the classic ones from like the early to mid 2000s. I think that's the era it was in, and whereby a lot of it, yeah, like obviously it's real cases, like in the real world, and they go back after they've been cold for so long, and they track them down, and they reopen these cold cases and see if they can solve them. And most chances they do end up solving them, because either A, the murderer gets caught, or the rapist or whoever gets caught by doing some other crime, and then their DNA gets caught, or by somebody else comes up with new information, and it's really interesting, really interesting. And that's it for my coffee. Also, another show I wanted to bring up too is Ozark. I watched the premiere for that, the first episode. Really good as well. It's kind of like got Breaking Bad vibes, where the husband and wife both have a not very sweet marriage in many regards on both sides. And like the husband's money laundering, and the wife is just staying at home, and like it's got a really good dynamic, and I'm really captivated by it, and I'm really interested to see how it goes over the series, because I kind of would like to delve into it more, and it's really good. I'm also waiting Umbrella Academy season 2. That's coming out the 31st, which is in 4 days. Hell yeah! So I'm excited for that, because the first Umbrella Academy I didn't watch this year. I watched, I think, last year, the end of last year. So, or no, sometime last year. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, I watched that as well. Umbrella Academy is really good. Highly recommend it. If you're into like DC or Marvel, it's kind of like a blend of that, in my opinion, and it has like a lot of new elements for the superhero genre as a whole. So, it's got a really good cast of characters. A lot of good acting, a lot of good writing. It's based off a Dark Horse comic. Haven't read that, but it's pretty cool. And so I'm gonna go ahead, and we're getting near the end of the first podcast. I think about an hour is pretty strong. Pretty good showing so far. And if also too, by all means, if you guys have anything interesting you want in the comments, talk about it in the next podcast, probably next week or the week after. Please do let me know. I'll probably do it after I watch some more Ozark, and probably Umbrella Academy season 2. So be sure to hit me up in the comments below, and if you're enjoying the podcast, please be sure to leave a like And don't forget to subscribe so you can, get and also hit the notification bell. I think that's a new thing that's going around the block. So hit me up on there and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Make sure to tap it lightly though, because I don't want to disturb people, because like the bell is really loud I hear if you hit it hard enough. I'm joking. I'm just bullshitting. Okay. This is really big news. As if 2020 isn't shocking enough. The New York Times has a new report out, and the title of the article is "No Longer in Shadows. Pentagon's UFO unit will make some findings public." And you might ask, well, what are these findings? Well, if you don't know, the Pentagon released, I think it was last month or even the month before, they released out a little tiny and I wouldn't call it anecdote, but like a little tiny big news reveal, whereby that there's off-planet vehicles on the planet that they have no origin to, and no other, as far as their knowledge goes, no other country has been able to produce these vehicles with this technology. And it's quite alarming, because if another country were to have access to this, other countries could be devastated. Because can you imagine having the ability to control gravity and fly around these crafts as quick as these pilots are recording? It's unprecedented. It's crazy. So this was published on July 23rd, which was 4 days ago. And they go ahead and said, despite the Pentagon statements that it disbanded a once-covert program to investigate unidentified flying objects, the effort remains underway. And inside the Office of Naval Intelligence, officials continue to study mystifying encounters between military pilots and UAVs, also known as unidentified aerial vehicles. And honestly, they don't, trained pilots are known to know what natural phenomena would be, like a bird, like other planes, maybe different cloud formations and whatnot. And they're trained to know all this, so it's quite alarming to see that the government really have no idea what's going on when it comes to who owns these crafts, who flies these crafts, where these crafts come from. It's crazy. Sorry, I just had to take a call. So yeah, it's crazy that with all this natural phenomenon that would happen, that you wouldn't think that this would be possible, but in turn it actually is. And it's really alarming for the U.S. Pentagon actually to put out a statement like this. Dating back to the 50s and 60s, you've had all these encounters with UFOs and the whole Roswell incident. Nobody really knows what happened there. And there's still reports to this day conflicting one another, and nobody to this day has delivered from the Pentagon or the U.S. government has directly put out a statement saying what happened, or the fact that we've been in contact with vehicles not of this earth, not of this origin. It's crazy. And apparently they have much more crazy information that's going to be coming out. Coming up in the next few weeks, I assume. Apparently this has been going on since the 2010s. So this hasn't been something that emerged recently. No. This has been something that's been going on for decades, not decades, but almost a decade. And as far as we know, it could have been going on for longer. Who knows? There hasn't been enough information being put out there by the U.S. government or the Pentagon to state whether or not. And they're even putting out there saying that in 2017, the New York Times disclosed the existence of a predecessor unit called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. And they said that at the time that the unit and its $22 million funding had lapsed after 2012. People working in the program, however, had said it was still in operation in 2017 and beyond. Statements later confirmed by the Department of Defense, or the Defense Department. Let's see. Let's keep going on here. The Pentagon program's previous director, Luis Elizondo? Yeah, I think it's Elizondo. A former military intelligence official who resigned in October 2017 after 10 years at the program, confirmed that the new task force evolved from the Advanced Aerospace Program. And they're saying now that it will have new transparency. That's what Mr. Elizondo. That's a really really peculiar last name. I haven't heard that last name before. So yeah, for more than a decade, like the Pentagon program has been conducting classified briefings for congressional committees, aerospace company executives, and other government officials. So there's even other government officials that still have no idea what these things are either. And the U.S. is really either looking into the fact that either A, another country has these unidentified crafts that are able to not have a propulsion system and are able to fly with these unprecedented speeds, or these are unidentified aerial phenomenon these vehicles are not of this planet. And this is huge news. And like nobody from like mainstream media has been talking about this, and it really raises eyebrows. Like, why? Like, this would be like one of the greatest achievements in human history of all humankind. Like, honestly, like if you could figure out and discover alien life, that there is life on another planet that isn't from this planet, you'd be shocked. We'd all be shocked. Like, it would just be this groundbreaking, monumental point in human history, and it's crazy that this isn't being talked about as much. And now they have to disclose this because taxpayer money's going into it. Like, millions of dollars are going into this because the U.S. government is trying to figure out. Because if, at the end of the day, most governments, if there's something that is unidentified out there that they don't know, that scares them. They want to get to the bottom of things. They want to know, like, what's going on. And if there's something of this world or outside of our world that we can't explain, we have to get to the bottom of it. We have to know what it is and why. Because it could be either a threat or something that could benefit us. Moving on. Eric W. Davis, an astrophysicist who worked as a subcontractor and then a consultant for the Pentagon UFO program since 2007, said that, in some cases, examination of materials had so far failed to determine their source and led them to conclude, quote, "We couldn't make it ourselves." So if we can't make it ourselves, somebody else, some other life form, somewhere out there in the universe that we know today, made these crafts, has this technology. The technology that we have right now is unable to create these things. And that's crazy. That's so weird. And to me, it proves the existence that there is aliens out there. Like, there is life beyond this planet. Like, there is intelligent beings or some kind of form of intelligent life out there that we are unaware of, either equal to us or greater than us. And maybe there's life that is lesser than us, like less technologically developed than we are, and we're yet to find them. And maybe they'll rise up one day. Who knows? Maybe there are more than one civilization out there. But to know that there is another civilization outside of Earth is groundbreaking. It's truly, 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 truly a great big piece in the human puzzle. Because I think Joe Rogan put it best. He said there's two main questions that we have when it comes to our lives in general. The two big questions are, one, what happens after death? We still don't know, of course. And number two, are we alone in the universe? And if we're alone in the universe, that's scary. And if we aren't, that could also be scary. Because who knows what these extraterrestrials or people outside of our planet want to do. Like, are they going to benefit us? Are they just going to watch over us? Or are they going to, destroy us and eliminate us? I feel like, though, if you were to end up having this type of technology, you wouldn't want to go around, find other life, and enslave them. No. You'd just make your own droids for that, wouldn't you? You'd think. You'd have the technology to do that. You wouldn't need living organisms to do that. So I feel like if you're at that point, you wouldn't. But also, too, there's the argument as well. Maybe aliens already know we exist, that we're here. but they just don't want to come in contact with us. It's like the worm analogy, for example. If you see an earthworm on the side of the road, you don't want to pick it up and try to contact with it. You're going to disregard it or squish it, really. Those are two things, and that's why a lot of people look at us. They feel. Oh man. It's been a wacky year. And already, like, with this pandemic, and now the U.S. Pentagon already putting out statements that there's a potentiality that there are off-world vehicles coming to our planet that we don't know what they are. It's very alarming. It's a very, very wild year. And hopefully we can... I'm going to hopefully update you on some stories, and if there's anything new on some things, I'll let you know if it's, you know, worth talking about. And maybe at the end of the day, maybe it's just nothing. Maybe it's just another country that has it. But I don't know. I always believed when I was growing up, and up until now, I believe that there is something out there. Whether or not the government has information on that, I still don't know. But I feel like the worldwide governments as a whole probably would withhold information from us if they knew these things. It just makes sense because a lot of people would panic. A lot of people wouldn't know what to do. A lot of people's lives would be greatly affected, of course. And it would just make you wonder, like, you know, a lot more things. It's really crazy, really crazy. So, anyway, I'm just going to close out here now, I think. And I'm just going to leave you on the fact that we should all be kind to one another. Be nice, and try to make each other's day better, because everybody on this planet has a weight of living, and if we all could just lend out a helping hand to make that weight less bearing on people, it would just be for the better. Why would you waste your negative energy on somebody when you could just put it towards helping somebody? So that's what I have to say for today. It was great sitting down talking to you guys. I'm probably gonna edit this video, probably make a little tiny like overlay type thing to signify the podcast, possibly. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to you guys, and I will do a podcast hopefully next week, and if not, I'll let you know on the community tab, because I think that's a thing now. I'm starting to get back into YouTube, so of course I gotta know all the ins and outs and what tools I have now available to me, because I think a lot of people that I'm sub to always use the community tab sometimes, so maybe I can too. So, if you guys enjoyed this podcast today, please let me know. Please be kind to one another, and it was awesome talking to you guys. I'm glad to be back, and hopefully you guys are too. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care. Peace out.